Hey guys, let's get more news, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. The Los Angeles Lakers have a lot of big roster decisions to make this summer following an early playoff exit. The main area that the Lakers are expected to look into is within the front court. More Lakers news. Lakers encouraged to trade Austin Reaves before price tag drastically increases. The team doesn't have a starting caliber center on the roster, and it will be up to the front office to get creative to find one. Los Angeles has been linked with multiple names so far this offseason, but they realistically can only go after a few players. One of those is Daniel Gafford from the Dallas Mavericks, who has plenty of experience playing alongside star guard Luka Doncic. Gafford has been a highly talked about name for the Lakers, but whether Dallas would be open to a deal remains to be seen. Landing Gafford won't be easy, especially considering the lack of tradable assets that the Lakers have. But on a recent episode of Buha's Block, Lakers insider Jovan Buha suggested what it may take for Los Angeles to land Gafford. Buha suggested that Los Angeles would likely need to overpay due to the perception of the Mavericks after the Doncic trade. They probably have to overpay, Buha said. It would probably have to be something like Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, and a first-round pick for Gafford. And that's a lot. Losing both a first-round pick and Dalton Connect for Gafford would be a tough pill to swallow for the Lakers. Los Angeles only has a few pieces of value to trade this summer, and they would be moving on from both in this deal. More Lakers news. Lakers trade rumor floated to bring back fan-favorite star. But the Lakers also desperately need a center, and the entire NBA knows it. Los Angeles may have to overpay in order to land a quality big this offseason, and at least Gafford has shown he can play effectively alongside Doncic. Gafford doesn't space the floor on offense, but he could be very effective as a rim-running, defensive center for Los Angeles. The veteran averaged 12.3 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and 1.8 blocks over 21.5 minutes a game. The Maverick center would check a lot of boxes for the Lakers, but whether Los Angeles wants to overpay remains to be seen. General manager Rob Pelinka has a lot of pressure to build a contending team, and it could cause some drastic measures to be taken. Here's the passage rewritten and expanded to roughly twice its original length. By the closing stages of the 2025 playoffs, the Denver Nuggets appeared utterly spent, their once potent lineup reduced to fumes. Just 2 seasons after capturing their first NBA championship in franchise history in 2023, and having maintained their perch among the league's elite ever since, they suddenly unraveled in the Western Conference semifinals. Much of the blame fell on Michael Porter Jr., whose scoring output dwindled at the worst possible moments. Time and again, he seemed to shrink under the bright lights of postseason basketball, unable to deliver the explosive shooting and defensive intensity that defined his regular season performances. His struggles left Denver without a reliable secondary scorer beside Nikola Jokic, exposing a depth chart that simply couldn't keep pace with the increasingly brutal competition out west. Faced with a loaded Western Conference that shows no signs of letting up, the Nuggets must now decide whether to overhaul their roster and shore up support for Jokic, whose prime, though still remarkable, will inevitably begin to taper. The window to maximize his remaining MVP-caliber seasons is narrowing, and whispers of potential trade requests have begun to swirl. Enter an attention-grabbing, 3-team proposal that has begun making the rounds among front offices, a blockbuster that promises to realign the power balance across the league. In this scenario, the Los Angeles Lakers, who have floundered in the post-LeBron era and remain desperate for a bona fide center to pair with rising stars, would land Jokic as their long-term anchor. His ability to control the paint, orchestrate the offense, and deliver nightly triple-double threats would instantly vault LA back into title contention. Meanwhile, the Brooklyn Nets, currently stuck in NBA purgatory despite boasting an embarrassingly high payroll, would absorb a few draft-friendly assets and salary cap relief, betting on an upside swing that could reignite their rebuild. And what of Denver? The Nuggets would emerge with 2 promising Lakers youngsters, both of whom boast high ceilings and the type of two-way versatility Stan Van Gundy covets, plus an additional lottery pick to extend their championship window without mortgaging the future. In return for the greatest passing big man the game has seen, Denver would recalibrate around a fresh core built for speed, spacing, and defensive switchability. All told, this triangular swap makes sense on paper. It addresses the Lakers' dire center need, gives Brooklyn new avenues for growth, and equips Denver with the complementary talent required to keep Jokic at the center of a sustainable contender. The Los Angeles Lakers robbed the Dallas Mavericks clean in the Luka Doncic trade in February, getting a 25-year-old megastar in his prime for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and one future first-round pick in 2029. Regardless of what someone thinks about Doncic, that is poor asset management. The trade did put the Lakers in a tough position because they sent away their only good center in Davis, and he didn't want to play center anymore. That forced them to play guys like Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura at center in the playoffs, something other teams were able to exploit. Dallas also faces a dilemma as they'll have a loaded front court with Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively II, Dwight Powell, P.J. Washington, Najee Marshall, Olivier Maxence Prosper, Cooper Flagg, and more as guys who can play at either forward spot or at center. That could force them to trade one this offseason as they look for guard help, but it's unlikely the Lakers are a trade partner again. Gafford and Doncic quickly built chemistry in their time together in Dallas, and the two of them would seemingly like to play together again in the future. However, Jovan Buha, who covers the Lakers for The Athletic, reported that it would take a lot for a trade to happen here. They probably have to overpay, Buha said on his show, Buha's Block. It would probably have to be something like Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, and a first-round pick for Gafford. And that's a lot. The Lakers already tried to trade Dalton Connect away from Mark Williams at the trade deadline, but that trade was rescinded for medical concerns with Williams. Gafford also only has 1 year left on his contract, so the Lakers could try to wait him out and sign him in the 2026 offseason.